I think always my biggest struggle is trying to find a schedule that works for us. And it seems like it is ever changing. So I know that when I find a schedule that is working for us, it's only going to last maybe about a month. And then we're going to have to figure out something new just because the kids kind of get bored with it. And like they need that routine, but sometimes that routine just gets old.
I think our biggest struggle was managing little ones when I'm trying to work with the oldest. So we didn't use a curriculum for my daughter, who's the younger one. So we came up with the idea of a busy box, and we have a great box of toys and activities and manipulatives that she is allowed to use only during school time. And it's when I'm maybe working with Erin on reading or writing or math, because language arts and math are really the two things that we do subject-wise. Everything else like history, Bible, science, art, we really can do together as a family, which is really fun.
I think so far in kindergarten, our biggest challenge has been math. For a while there, every time I would say, okay, we're going to do some math, even if it was just simple counting. We're going to just count to 10 or count to 20. As soon as I would say we're going to do math, her whole demeanor would change. Like, oh, I don't want to. I was like, we're just counting. We do it every day. And so I've kind of stepped back and I found a different way, just like a different workbook to use with her. And she's gravitated to it greatly. When she can see what we're counting versus just, on our fingers or whatever, it's just it was presented to her in a different way than the curriculum that I had. And once we made that change, she seems to enjoy it a lot more. So it's good. It can change. Like if she's fighting me on everything versus just math, like if it's like fighting tooth and nail, then it's like, okay, let's not do it now. Let's try maybe after lunch or after a snack. So I'm okay taking an extra day or two or a week. Like I said, there was one time earlier this year that I just, I was like, you know what, let's take 2 weeks because I need a break and you need a break. And
we as homeschoolers, we have that privilege of being able to say, you know what, this isn't working. Let's try something else. And I know that some of these kids that are in public school, they're having to do it, the way the teachers are teaching it. And we see the difficulties that these people that have been pushed into schooling at home are having.
This is my favorite question ever, because I think that's the biggest misconception with homeschooling is that, like, how do you sit at a table or in the kitchen with your kids for 8 hours a day? And we don't. Kindergarten might be an hour a day. First grader might be 1 hour a day. A second grader might be 2 hours a day. Third grader, 3 hours a day, and so on. But it's so flexible that it varies.
And our goal is to be done before we eat lunch. But during our meal times, we do reading. And so we are at lunchtime and dinner still most often doing some reading. It might be a fun book. It might be on government or science or something. But yeah, that's the goal. And it's the boys know that's the goal. And they know that if they get it done, then they've got, other than chores and stuff, most of the day free to do stuff that they want to do.
Yeah, I try to really make sure that I only do my work during work hours. I'm a portrait photographer, so I sometimes have photo shoots and then I have to come home and edit. So right now, obviously, I'm not able to go and shoot, but I still have a lot of things to do behind the scenes to work on my business, a few hours. So I have set office hours. I try not to work on the weekends. I try not to work in the evenings. Like as soon as my husband gets home from work, it's really important for us to have that family time and no more work. If I have a lot of work to do, I'll get up early in the morning and do that.
With a little bit older kids, I found that math is the time where I can leave them alone. So I have it, in the morning after breakfast, both my boys are doing math. And I know they might have some questions, but I know that I can be in the kitchen, getting the kitchen cleaned, getting stuff pressed for the day, getting other schoolwork ready. And so, trying to figure out, a lot of times I have the boys writing in a journal. I know they can do that by themselves. And so if I have to do a phone call or something like that, I can organize my day by figuring out what they can do on their own and not need my help to do. For me, our math is done online, and so that's graded already. Otherwise, we do everything together, our 12-year-old and our 6-year-old, other than math. And so for the most part, I'm sitting there right with them while they're doing all of their work. And so I critique while we're doing it pretty much.
Same. So with a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old sitting right next to him most of the time, it's pretty difficult for me to leave him and trust him to stay focused and do what he needs to do. But yeah, once he finishes an assignment, I'll check it right away and we'll move on to the next subject. So we don't grade per se, especially in elementary school. We don't do transcripts or anything like that. That'll happen, I believe, earlier or later on, junior high school.
You just have to be a step ahead. Yeah, learning it along with them. And both of my boys know more about history than I do. And they know a lot about science too. And so they're telling me things that I had no clue about.
Yeah, my son is pretty sensitive. So when he's struggling with writing or reading, I found that he actually really enjoys just sitting on my lap and doing it together as opposed to sitting across the table from each other, because he enjoys that and he stays focused and he feels like I actually have his back and I'm able to help him a little bit better.
Like I can tell, like if my daughter just needs a snack, like if we're just hitting a road or if the night before was really rough, those are just hard days for me. So I can tell on those days I'm like, I'm not going to rush anything and we'll take our time. We'll have a big breakfast and try to kind of reset when we're about to start school. And then again, if I'm feeling anxious or stressed about anything, then I know it's not going to benefit her at all. So I usually try to step back and it's like, you know what, let's try after lunchtime, after Maxine has another nap, or whenever we can kind of reset and have a better head.
Yep. Homeschoolers, there's tears with the kids too. They come, unfortunately, and there's been multiple times where, math brings on tears or writing. And this is just me, but I want them to take a break so they can get over the frustrations, but I don't let them go do something fun because I'm afraid they're going to learn that, if I throw a fit, I'll just go and do something fun. Right. And so a lot of times what I'll do is I'll say, okay, why don't you go take a break and go do some of your chores, go unload dishes, go get your laundry started, or how about run up and down the stairs like 5 times, or around the house, or go jump on the trampoline, but doing something that's kind of active and getting over the whole frustration thing is kind of my go-to. When I think I need to do it sometimes too, because sometimes, my hormones are running like crazy, and I tell the boys that, okay, today is not the day. So, I'm just going to walk off and, if you guys can, that's where you make an easy day. It's journal and math and that's it, or something. So you have to realize that, we as the moms or the dads are going to have hard days too, and have some forgiveness for yourselves too. I think the reward for us is getting done before lunch. That's the reward.
That's a big reward.
Yeah.
I think it's just the longer you take, the less focused you are, then the more delayed everything else is. So if you want to go back upstairs and keep building with your Legos, or if you want to move on to music or go outside and run around and play and ride our bikes, it's like we'll have more time to get to do those fun things if we can stay focused and stay on track. And our goal also is to get done by lunchtime. So if we can start between 9 and 10, we're usually on track to finish up before lunch.
I sat right next to him and just cheered him on and tried to assist as much as possible.
A lot of positive affirmation is helpful too, as opposed to focusing on what they did wrong or the negatives, and that's good in not just schooling, but parenting in general. I think positive affirmation is so important and helpful for little ones. And I think once you know your children's learning styles, you can really adapt to that. So there's visual learners, kinesthetic learners, and auditory learners are the 3 main categories of learners. And I think when you really hone in on what you are yourself and how how you learn, but how your kids learn, and you can adjust the teaching to that.
One thing to point out is that you don't need to be a teacher. You just, you know your kids, and it'll come.
I think it's a matter if you can. I know some schools are like, okay, you have to log on at this time and this time to their like online learning or technical classroom. And if you can, just give yourself grace, forgive yourself at the end of the day, and tomorrow's a new day. And there are days that stick with you and you're like, I don't want to repeat that. And whether it be how you reacted to something or how your kid reacted to something, you just got to give yourself grace and forgive yourself. And just whole 1 hour lesson might take us a whole day, just because we both need some breaks to just go outside and enjoy our backyard. It doesn't have to be at a desk. Like, get out of the box.
This is like 2 months that there's not going to be, schooling in the schools. And if you think of it in the realm of, our kids are in school for 13 years, too much is not, you're not missing much. And like for the kindergartner through third graders, some homeschoolers don't even traditionally start teaching until like third grade. And those kids are always, in great shape, reading and math and everything. So like usually we're learning everything 3 times, like kindergarten through third grade, you learn a certain science and a certain history, and then 4th through 7th grade, you're doing the same thing. And so what if you're in 4th grade and you're missing something, you're probably going to review it. The last thing is that this is an awesome opportunity to teach your kids life skills, things that they are not learning in school and they don't have enough time to learn at home. And so teaching them to do their own laundry, teaching them to make some meals. My kids, they are in control of the carbs for dinner. And so they get to decide what carbs we have and all of that stuff. I'd encourage them, if the dads are around, to follow the dads around, help with projects around the house, just learning the life skills that, you're going to be very glad that they have once they're getting older.
Yes. Yeah. Beautiful. I love you. Thank you for sharing this time, and stay healthy.
Thank you.